Howdy y'all, this is Davis from Team Cardfighters United, and today I'm going over my Eradicator's deck post new clan selection. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in here. So main grade 3, Draconic Descendant. When he rides over anything, you get the skill of the Eradicator below him. It's pretty crucial to this deck. He also, for a Soul Blast, once a turn, you can bind something from front row and move a back row to front row. It really helps in Narukami, specifically this deck, when it loves to bind. And then it also has a restand ability that you can counterblast and discard a card and lose a drive, and he'll restand as long as its attack did not hit. I do run 4 of because that is going to be my main grade 3. Now, I originally had this deck as a 4 of for Gauntlet Buster, but with the new clan selection coming out, I jumped into the new Eradicator Vanguard Dragon, and I'll go ahead and read that verbatim real quick because I still kind of don't know what it does. When your opponent's normal unit is bound other than from their deck during their turn, your opponent searches their deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as the bound card and binds it and shuffles their deck. You choose one of your units and it gets 5k until end of turn. If your opponent did not bind a card, it gets 10k instead. Really, really cool because you end up binding 2 of their cards, 1 out of deck and 1 off field or drop. We'll get into that a little bit later. But with the new Vanguard Dragon, it gives me a little bit more option. And then Gauntlet Buster Dragon gets very, very fat with all of the open rear guards. He gets 5k and a crit for each one after you've bound everything. And then counterblast and discard a card, and you can bind the entire front row and move all the back rows up to the front row. And of course, Draconic Descendant will ride over either one of these and get both of their abilities and be really, really dumb good. So I run 3 of these each, kind of a perfect split. You can do 4 of one of the other if you want a little bit more heavier on one side versus the other. Sorry, shaking the camera a little bit. So we'll move those out of the way over here. I did run a 4 Vanguard Dragon split, but because Gauntlet Buster is so expensive and I really enjoyed it, I decided to do more of Gauntlet Buster. So jumping into grade 2s here, we have Fiendish Sword Eradicator Choyu. I still don't know how to say his name, but it's fine. I run Chowo. Okay, well the expert is calling it Chowo, so we'll say that. So this is another bind in the front row, but it also has another ability that you can counterblast and stand this unit at the end of battle at your Vanguard attack, and if your opponent has no front row rear guards. So really, really helps, and I run 4 of those just for adding some extra punch, some extra power, and if you hit a trigger, it's really helpful for another big swing after like a Vanguard Dragon or a Gauntlet Buster. So here's that one. Jumping into the next one, I run 2 of the Eradicator Spark Rays Dragon. First skill, when placed, it'll get 5k, and then you look at the top 5 for an Eradicator. It helps flesh out if you want to run Vanguard Dragon over Gauntlet Buster, or how it helps you flesh out your hand a little bit better. Of course, you will have to discard to this ability after you search if you find, but it also will get any Eradicator in this deck, which most of the cards in this deck are. It also gives you a little bit of card draw for a Soul Blast if the attack hits a Vanguard. So really good grade 2 ride. Run 2 of those. Next up will be Lightning Whip Eradicator Sunheal. I run 3 of these, and it may jump up to 4 because I really like this card in this deck. So it gets an additional 5k on top of the Excel Circle, so long as it is there. And then when you place it, if your Vanguard is Eradicator, which it will be, you discard a card from hand, and you can bind it front or rear guard and draw a card. Again, more draw cards for this deck, fills your hand. That's always a good thing in Vanguard. All right. The next is going to be Eradicator Plasma Catapult Dragon. This is here for some more bind, and if it's on Vanguard, you get to draw a card for a Counterblast and Soul Blast once a turn. I mainly put this in here for filler and some more bind and some more draw card. I really personally like this because I can activate it Vanguard and rear guard, so I'm not tied down to either one. So that's mainly the reason it's in here. Of course, I only run 1 of. So next set, we're going to jump into our grade 1s just a little bit. It's these boys here. So you got Lightning Cannon Eradicator, I don't really know, Gong Sun, and Obon. So of course these are going to ride, or not ride, these are going to be placed in the same column together. And then at the end of battle that Gong Sun attacks, you can counterblast 1 and bind all of this column and then draw 2 cards. So I run 2 of each, the grade 1 and the grade 2, to help with card draw, to help with more binding, to help with pretty much just anything overall. And of course, this was in my past deck list before the clan section. I had about 3 or 4 of these a piece in the deck, again for more draw and binding. Next up in the grade 1 is going to be Isolation Eradicator Nusku. This is the card that's going to go in for the grade 3 searcher, or went in for my grade 3 searcher. It does the exact same thing as a grade 3 searcher would, except I can find any Eradicator off the top of my deck, so it's really helps with utility and finding any Eradicator I want if I'm grade stuck on grade 2, or I'm not going to find my grade 3 as easily, or I can, you know, filter out my hand. I get to see more of my deck, and it makes the deck just a little bit faster. Next up is probably one of the better cards in the deck from the new selection, Eradicator Demolition Dragon. Now this is a really cool card because it actually lets you bind out of drop zone. When the end of battle this unit attacked or boosted, that its attack hit, draw a card, choose up 1 card from your opponent's drop, and bind it. And if you bound a card, this unit is on rear guard, put it into soul. So it also soul charges you a little bit. And of course, as good a card this is, I'm going to run 4 of them because that really helps what I'm doing in this deck. And if I have Vowing Sword Dragon, that makes it 2 cards instead of just the 1. Coming in another grade 1, this is just another grade 1 bind card. For a discard, I discard a card and I can bind something from front row, and it gets in a little bit of a boost. So just another filler grade 1 that may end up coming out or may not. It's kind of there for placement at this point. On to trigger units, the new grade 3 heals. Of course, I'm going to run 4 of those. It's a very good early game, and even not too bad late game, even with the 5k reduction from the original heals. Then I have my crit sentinels here that I run 4 of, and then 4 of regular crits and 4 of my draws to help fill my hand a little bit. So this deck is very crit heavy, with some extra swinging power, and really likes to be very quick and take out opponents fairly quickly. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.